eye floaters. These annoying, worm-like little yarns of something that make it impossible to see the sky in all of its glory.
Hey, eye floater. Hi.
Up to 80% of people nowadays have these and just think that they're normal, but they're not. They're actually a sign that your underlying health is suffering and can even be an early warning sign of blindness.
Eye floaters are more common as you get older. Biggest concern, they can cause retinal tears.
If a tear develops in the retina, fluid can get in underneath that tear and just lift the retina off like wallpaper off a wall. And that's a retinal detachment.
And that can cause blindness.
Even worse, recent research suggests that our excessive use of screens can contribute to forming these. And while they're incredibly common, your doctor probably has no idea they even exist, let alone how to get rid of them. If they do, they'll give you three options. The first and most popular is nothing at all. Gotta love modern medicine. The second is this fancy laser. However, it's quite difficult to find and can cost you quite a bit. The third and final option is having them go in and surgically extract your eye fluid from your eyes with a fine needle. Fortunately, there are some other ways we can deal with floaters with some simple and cheap tools that can improve them by up to 70%. Now, what exactly are eye floaters and what causes them? First, we need to understand how your eye works to begin with. There's a couple different components to your eye, and the back part of your eye is actually what facilitates vision. This is called the retina. Basically, it takes light and it transforms it into an image using your optic nerve so that your brain can perceive it as something meaningful. But the light needs to pass through the rest of your eye in order for this to happen. And the main portion of your eye, what makes it all squishy and jelly-like, this is called the vitreous fluid. The vitreous fluid, or the vitreous body, is made up of collagen proteins and other carbohydrate molecules, essentially extracellular structures that are floating around in water. And what floaters are they are detached or damaged bits of this extracellular protein or this extracellular structure that causes the structure to clump up. And because light needs to pass through this in order to hit the back of the eye, the retina, for you to perceive vision, if there's any clumps within the vitreous fluid, it will show up as eye floaters. You'll be able to see them. Now, the question is what actually causes this damage? And that is oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is essentially the process by which reactive oxygen-containing chemicals can disrupt various processes in your cells and in your body. Most notably, oxidative stress can lead to damage of different cellular compartments. You can think of it like iron becoming rusted with exposure to oxygen. And this oxidative stress can tear apart essentially any component to your cell or the extracellular matrix, and in this case, it can damage the vitreous fluid. Now, we do have antioxidants filled throughout the vitreous fluid that helps prevent this process. One of the most important is vitamin C. Vitamin C is incredibly concentrated within the vitreous fluid, more so than almost any other part of the body. And it's there because it can absorb this oxidative stress. It can prevent this oxidative stress from happening, and it protects your vitreous fluid from being damaged. Now, the vitreous fluid normally does not have a lot of oxygen within it to begin with. However, oxygen can leak into the vitreous fluid and make it more susceptible to becoming damaged by oxidative stress if the metabolism of the retina is thrown off. Essentially, your cells need oxygen in order to produce energy through metabolism. If they're not burning energy correctly, then that oxygen gets wasted. It leaks through this area where it should be getting used, and it leaks into the extracellular fluid of the vitreous cavity, and there it can cause oxidative stress. And this is one of the main reasons why exposure to artificial light or screens can be so damaging, because blue light specifically, which is enriched in artificial screens, can directly damage the mitochondria within the retina. And if your mitochondria are damaged and they're not working properly, there's plenty of oxygen left over to cause damage. So some easy things you can do there would be wearing blue blocking glasses. I'll link my preferred brand here. And you can also change the settings on both your phone and your computer. You can turn on things like color filters and turn the red light setting up so that you're getting less blue light exposure. You can also turn down the brightness in general. Those will all limit your exposure to blue light. Now, what are some other factors for optimizing the metabolism within the eyes? The eyes are very dependent on carbohydrates or glucose, and they're also very dependent on insulin. Without enough carbohydrate or without enough insulin, these cells in the retina can die. And metabolic issues and insulin resistance are so common nowadays. They can lead to all different sorts of health issues, from hormonal to your energy to your sleep to your digestion. And unfortunately, most are not taking a root cause approach to solving these issues. But that's exactly why we have Prism. At Prism, we have a team of practitioners who do take a root cause and bioenergetic approach to solving health issues. I personally work with the team and we've had some great success with our existing clients. We do lab testing, we do comprehensive reports, one-on-one coaching, diet guidelines, supplement guidelines, anything that you would need in order to optimize your health and overcome your health issues. We can help you with that Prism. So if you're interested in that, just book a free call here by clicking in the top right corner of the screen or in the description below. Another very important molecule for the metabolism of the eyes is something called NAD, and this is a derivative of vitamin B3, highly utilized in order to churn out energy within the retina, and adding in vitamin B3 derivatives can prevent this cell death. Another important factor here is vitamin A. Vitamin A is in foods like liver and egg yolks, and vitamin A is literally called retinol because of the retina, because it allows you to see properly. It's involved in the process of taking light and basically turning it into a usable chemical signal. Like I mentioned before, the vitreous fluid is filled with all sorts of antioxidants that can help prevent this. So besides vitamin C, we have vitamin B2 or riboflavin, which is important for an enzyme called glutathione reductase. Glutathione itself, which is one of the master antioxidants. This is formed from cysteine or N-acetylcysteine, glycine, as well as glutamate. Those are all dietary amino acids. Tyrosine, another dietary amino acid. Uric acid. Taurine, which is in animal foods. Transferrin, which carries iron. You have selenium, which is in seafood and also in more animal foods. Zinc, same thing, very important. Enzymes like superoxide dismutase, which contain zinc and either copper or manganese. And then you have catalase, which is another iron-dependent enzyme. I've written more about optimizing the antioxidant network as a whole, and I'll link in the description as well as here where you can read that for more information on that. And last but not least, there are 2 clinical studies showing reductions in floaters using 2 different supplements. So the first one was published in 2021. This one used a blend of different dietary antioxidants. They used lysine, which is an amino acid, vitamin C. They also used grape extract, which is another antioxidant. They used a similar extract of citrus fruits, and then they also added in some zinc. And they did this 1 capsule a day for 6 months. And overall, people rated their visual discomfort as improved by about 50%. People reported that they were less affected by their floaters by about 46.7%. They said that persistent discomfort was reduced down from 30% to under 10%. And after the 6 months, not one person said that their floaters were bothering them anymore. And this wasn't just a mental thing in their head. They actually went and measured the area of the eye that was being covered up by eye floaters, and they showed that the total area was reduced by about 17%. Meanwhile, people who got placebo, theirs increased by about 24%. And here's a visualization of what one person had on the top, this panel A. This is one individual before the study, and then on the bottom is them after 6 months of the supplement. You can clearly see that there's a pretty big reduction in the floaters. The second clinical study was even more convincing. This one was published in 2022, and this used a mix of different fruit enzymes. So bromelain, which is from pineapple, papain, which is from papaya, and ficin, which is from figs. And at the highest doses of these fruit enzymes being supplemented in the diet, 70% of people reported elimination of their eye floaters. Meanwhile, in the placebo group, there was no change. And again, they did some imaging to actually see this visually. And as you can see here, here's one example. This person has a clear floater in their vitreous fluid on the top. And then on the bottom in this panel B, it's no longer there. And after just 2 months, while at the beginning of the study, about 80% of people reported that they had difficulties due to their floaters, at the end of the study, 92% of the patients reported satisfaction. And the reason these enzymes work is because they are proteolytic, so they can go into the vitreous cavity, and in there, they actually degrade the floaters at the source. So they're not just preventing the formation of new ones, they're actively going in and chopping up the existing floaters that you have. And most people don't even know about these supplements. They don't know that eye floaters can even be solved with a simple supplement, which is exactly why we're creating our own supplement. It's called 4K Vision. It hasn't launched yet, but it's going to be combining the ingredients from both clinical trials. So the high doses of the fruit enzymes, as well as the antioxidants and the amino acids from the other study. So if you want updates on that, just click here. You can join our email list, and we're planning on launching by the end of the year. Finally, if you want to get some lab testing done, you can do so through Revelation Diagnostics. Instead of needing to go to a doctor, you can order any lab that you want online. Just search it up, add it to cart, and then you can go to your nearest lab in order to get your blood drawn and your data analyzed. And you can use checkout code ANALYZE for 10% off all your orders. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one.